The modules were taught and they focused on vocations in care and childcare. And then the people who come to the modules became volunteers. So they had assistance in creating a CV, getting ready for work if they get the right to remain. These people can't go for educational work in the UK until they get the right to remain, which of course leaves people sitting around for 11 years, getting more and more mentally ill. So every module has a section where the language used for that vocation can be learned. So early years they learnt palmar grip, they learnt about pincer grip, they learnt about large motor movements. So they actually have the language for early years. Women with little children come and they feel they're working towards when they can work. They're gaining hope from this education. Inclusion is really important, as we know, for mental health and a feeling of hope. We could say the academic standards are lower, but let's look to the tutor and the pedagogy, the feedback, the textbooks, the development of my professional ways of working as I know it. I had to think about that. I had to think about what could I let go or develop differently. So the syllabus became less in terms of trying to rush through it and get it all in. And I ignored the plagiarism problems that, people were academically adrift. They were just starting. So why should I set university standards or higher education standards on this group of women? The content was important, but the context was much more important. The staff having the motivation and the inspiration, the effort to really widen participation. The level of student engagement was developed as the courses progressed, and that actually was true widening participation. Everybody came. All of them who came got food and got some English language, got some friendship, got some information and knowledge, and got educated. Now, what I did was to design the modules to match universities' modules, because the experience in this classroom will provide a step towards the UK educational curriculum. So all the courses has the same type of topics on them, and nationally, obviously in the UK, we're told what to teach for every occupation. The standards are available for all education providers, and the women got to learn what the standards were. What do we talk about when we're on this course or that course? That knowledge is really, really important when choosing a university to go to. So, what do you think the women said? Being given a curriculum that they co-created and chose their modules and could sit in with their baby, what did they say? Let's have a look. Before, we were always in our rooms. Even to talk to others was not as it is now. Now we are discussing and learning from each other, so I am happy and appreciate. Thank you so much, Carriers of Hope, for helping us out. We appreciate the efforts of our volunteers who make such an event possible and successful. It's been a lot of work, but you have done such a good job. The only way to become smarter, better, happier, livelier and wiser is to help others just like you have. They also said, the sessions are very educational to us as mothers, and they reduce a lot of stress or panic because a lot of things are explained. The kids also enjoy interacting with others, and it's good for their mental growth as well. I am exposed to different parental skills that I did not possess previously. The sessions keep us occupied, improve our social skills, and thus help to reduce our stress levels. I'm so grateful to Dr. Lynn, who teaches us English, as the people in the refuge that she is helping started to communicate in English with confidence, which is really great. It is really helpful for us because we share our experience for the babies, and this helps us to be more confident in ourselves and helps a lot of the babies to socialise. Also, the Carriers of Hope has helped in supplying us the things that we really needed for babies and mothers. And something else that I really appreciate is the help that they are giving us to participate in some courses where we can take certificates. With Carriers of Hope, we've learnt a lot about too many things, and I appreciate everything that they do for us. I am thankful to them. All very positive, but did you notice what they focused on? It wasn't the grades. It was not the grades they achieved. It was the social communication with each other in the classrooms. It was the help to become a firm base, if you like, an emotionally firm base. So there is a system, as you know, where you teach the mother and you will teach the child, and all of the women learnt how to teach their children and share it on WhatsApp, so parents could become teachers. And we've got in the UK the early years foundation stage and the national curriculum, so parents knew what was expected from their children. And refugees, asylum seekers usually underachieve because everything's new. Their parents cannot help with the homework and don't really know what's going on in school. So this was really useful. And when the lockdown came, the women had hours of online work from school. It was really difficult to make that into English and then teach their children. So again, we all know about the inequalities of the COVID lockdown for children. But what Carriers of Hope did, they made up creative packs, and they sent the packs to 100 different houses alongside breakfast packs and storybooks and food parcels and nappies and toiletries. These all went to the houses, and then the staff were online teaching the parents how to use the pack to make dinosaurs, to talk in languages and express in poetry. So the packs for the children helped both the parent and the child. It was a unique way of sending things out, I think. Very, very useful for the group. So we increased and enhanced the learning, not by assigning textbooks, but having experiences and high quality material. We didn't paraphrase textbooks. We encouraged imagination and creativity on the course. Parents got to write about their own children, their own child's development. They put the photos in, which obviously we printed off, and they put in their own languages or in English where the child was at developmentally. It's a real immersive learning, isn't it? Obviously, when we were in the classes, they learned how to use a computer. And lucky enough, Coventry Uni lent 6 laptops. So we were able throughout the lockdown to do a citizens social science research block. And they did really interesting things like, what is the refuge like? What's motherhood like when you're a refugee or asylum seeker? What's the food in the food bank like? Maternity services. And Warwick University developed their investment in the community. They're going to offer their students a module which works with Carriers of Hope. So although they can't work at university yet, the women in our groups are getting real experience about universities and how they work. Let's have a little break with our minds and just look at some photos. So they're the celebrations. Diversity, as we know it in early years, was taught. Embroidery and sewing. Obviously, the outcomes of any course needs to be created through motivation and excitement. And the initiatives actually weren't set by the tutors. The idea of what shall I make and how shall I make it came from the students. And it's interesting that some tutors, people from the churches, had this attitude of making the outcomes to suit them. We're going to make an apron, we're going to make 2 aprons, we're going to sew the pocket here, we're going to put the straps there. And of course in education we know that actually we don't do most of the work for the students, they do the work for themselves. You know, they're of equal standing, they're all ready to find out their own way, you know. These are the selling of things. They made a marketplace. Some of the embroidery the women did. That's the play for preschoolers. Obviously, after doing a module, they then put it into action in one of the creches. We talked about music, language development. The classroom experience translated into doing some service to other children in the creche. This was fun. We obviously celebrated every culture and every song we could find. There was a challenge to find resources because we're a charity. We've got very little to do with paper, pens, flip charts. You know, the scrounging for basic educational things still goes on. I still haven't got a decent computer for them. But we manage as tutors form and content. We fill the courses up, whether it's with student presentations or you know, these presentations reduces the student content and the workload for the tutor. And the technology of the presentations take time and attention from the discussion. But what's happened to my pedagogy is that I've actually seen the student in the room. I don't do 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours lectures. We just do less lectures, less slides, and discuss. And their own learning, their own concepts came out fully by making that space. It was very inclusive by using less of what I usually use in university. Okay, intercultural. This was a lovely session I did to take Moroccan things back to the UK. And the refugees do enjoy having artefacts from their own country. They enjoy keeping their traditions and language alive. They do get that we value differences because we ask them to throw into the sessions. And they learn languages ever so quickly. They learn each other's language, and therefore I get some good translations in the room.